prep game for the national championship game.
When your team leader says the Rose Bowl is beneath them, guess what? The whole team hears that, and they don't really care about going to the Rose Bowl.
It's not a big deal at all. I feel like we already won a Rose Bowl.
It was as though Oregon's team didn't care to play this game.
Welcome to Campus Insiders Oregon. I'm Jill Savage alongside Justin Myers, and in a position maybe that we haven't been in quite some time with Oregon's loss to Arizona. Everyone saw that, the fallout now. Is it fair, though, with the comments that DeAnthony Thomas and Josh Huff made? Is it fair, Justin, to link them to this loss?
Oh, it's absolutely fair, because I think when you are looking at the Rose Bowl, whether it's disappointment of not being in the national championship, disappointment of going to the same bowl 2 times in 3 years, what you're doing is you're looking beyond the team that you were playing that week. That was never allowed under Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly wouldn't even allow the existence of the month of November until it got there, let alone looking beyond a team or 2 and 3 games. Listen, these guys, whether they meant it to be a disappointment or they meant it as ho-hum, just another Rose Bowl, they were looking beyond Arizona, Oregon State, and a potential Pac-12 championship game. And any coach in the country will tell you, when you start looking beyond opponents, that's when you get beat, and you get beat really bad like Oregon did on Saturday.
Justin, how much pressure is Mark Helfrich under right now?
I think a fair amount, obviously much more than he was under in September and October, but a fair amount. Let's end all the talk about hot seats and is he coaching for his job and all that nonsense. That's all emotional stuff that come after a loss for the Oregon fan base. But I think a bit more pressure because of all the expectations on the season and the way that they finished. This has been a first time that Oregon wasn't getting better as the season progressed. This was a much better team in September than it was in November.
When you look back to Chip Kelly's first year as a head coach, it looks like there are similar circumstances that Mark Helfrich is facing now.
First-year coaches have to learn lessons, and how they react to tough times and how they react to adversity really defines their coaching career. Chip Kelly, the same thing. After Boise, Oregon fans were lighting up the internet wondering, is this the right guy? Did they make the right hire? Does Bellotti need to come back? All that stuff worked itself out. Why? Because Chip Kelly learned the lessons throughout, and here's the thing, he stayed true to himself. Mark Helfrich needs to find out what kind of program he wants to build at Oregon and stay true to himself. Chip Kelly believed in a fast-paced offense and continued to implement it over the next 4 years. Mark Helfrich needs to find out what kind of team he wants to build and stay true to himself.
My question for the players, and I'll ask you, who is going to be the leader this week in the locker room? You saw a lack of focus in that Arizona game, so they have to turn things around quickly with that short week.
And I'll tell you what, I know it's not in his personality, but it has to be Marcus Mariota. He is their best player. He is their quarterback. I know he's a laid-back Hawaiian guy who's always cool and calm under pressure. He needs to come out of his shell. He needs to lead this team for the next 2 games and however long Marcus decides to play at the University of Oregon. But that's the guy. It can't come from anyone else because no one else is more important to this team than Marcus Mariota.
You did see him say after that Arizona game that he's never experienced a loss like this. So it looks like he will be a little bit more fired up this week. But you mentioned it. How long is Marcus Mariota here? Is this going to be his final game in a Duck uniform? I
think so. If I had to bet, I would say this is going to be the last time we see Marcus Mariota play football at Autzen Stadium, and I think he's going to be a projected first-round draft pick, probably even projected into the top 10. That's a lot of money and a lot of opportunity to pass up to come back and play college. Plus, this is the first time he's really experienced an injury, and I think that scares guys. So I think you're going to see Marcus Mariota finish this year, go on to the NFL. But I can see the argument on the other side where there was so much riding on this season, Heisman Trophy and a national championship all the way into the month of November, and it all disappeared. And maybe that's enough motivation to bring him back. But if you ask me personally, I think Marcus is done after this season.
Oregon fans don't like to hear that, but they have a big week in front of them, and we'll break it all down for you right here on Campus Insiders Oregon.